So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it, jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself. Good morning guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we are getting straight into things because we need to figure out how can Manchester United beat Sevilla. Last week, they went and played against Sevilla with a pretty strong team, threw it away basically, and draw 2-2 in the last minute. Now they have to go to Spain, a very, very difficult place to go in Sevilla, without Lisandro Martinez, without Rafael Varane, there's no Luke Shaw, there's no Marcus Rashford, there's no Garnacho, there's no Tyrell Malacia, there's no Bruno Fernandes, suspended for having arms. How on earth can Manchester United go win this game? Well, that's what we're going to go talk about today. Because I think United will win this game. I'm actually quite confident going into it. So I want to look at how I think Ten Hag will set up, who I think some of the important players might be. Hint, it's these two. And yeah, basically how it's going to play out on the pitch, which I haven't got on screen at the moment. 1 second. Here we go. Here is our pitch here. And the first thing that I want to say is it is a tiny bit difficult to kind of predict how this game is going to go, simply because I'm not too sure what version of Sevilla we're going to get. Now, I wouldn't say last week was a game of two halves, because United was still the better team in both halves of football. However, that Sevilla team in the second half was definitely different to what it was in the first half. They had a bit more intensity in the way that they played off the ball, a bit more bite in the tackle, and, you know, they made life much more difficult for United. So the question is, are we going to see that again? Well, initially we're going to assume that we are. Okay, so this is how I would approach the game if Sevilla go for the high press. Now, I'm not necessarily saying this is what United will do, it's how I would go for it. And what I would do is, at goal kicks in particular, do something very different to what United have been doing recently. And instead of having both centre-backs dropping into the box like this, I would ask just one of them to do it. Harry Maguire on the right-hand side. What this then allows United to do is have Dalot at left-back, assuming Malacia is still out, Lindelof here, Casemiro here, Wan-Bissaka here, and then we've got our two midfielders kind of pinning Sevilla back a little bit. So let's say Sevilla are going to press from here. The pass goes like this. Sevilla are now going to press with Nesri, Rakitic, Ocampos, Navas, let's assume might be the lineup. Manchester United should be able to completely outnumber them in these areas. Now you might say, well, surely Sevilla can bring someone else to the press. They can't really, because the midfielders are pinned by Eriksen and Sabitzer. On Sabitzer, we don't know if he's going to be fit. I think he will be, but if not, just imagine Fred in this situation. Anthony and Sancho on the wings are going to pin back the fullbacks, and Martial is occupying the two centre-backs. This gives Manchester United a 6 versus 4 situation to play the ball out from the back. That, to me, looks like a really good way of playing through. And what it's going to allow United to do if they are able to work this is get into positions where actually quite quickly you can turn a situation where you're being pressed in your own penalty area into suddenly we're at the halfway line and Sevilla are looking in a bit of danger basically. Sevilla are not good at defending these situations. I mean, that sounds a bit blunt, maybe a bit harsh, but it's just true. Sevilla aren't very good. You know, there's a lot of talk amongst Manchester United fans about how this is now mission impossible with so many players out. This Sevilla team are not very good at football. They were lucky not to be blown away last week. It should have been 3-0 or 4-0. They should have been down to 10 men. Manchester United outclassed them without even being that great. So United should be confident going into this game. And I think if Sevilla pressed them and United used this sort of structure, I think it would allow them to really, really hurt them. Simply because you've got Casemiro and Lindelof can outnumber Rakitic. Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka outnumber the winger on this side. And Lindelof and Dalot do it on this side. Plus De Gea and Maguire do it to the striker. I think it really gives United the potential to kind of build out from the back, get the ball into these areas where we know how good they can be in quick attacks, especially with Anthony on the right wing at the moment in really good form, Martial involved in the goals since his return from injury. This would allow United to quickly hurt Sevilla. Now, because of this, I actually think Sevilla aren't too likely to come out and press. I think there will be stages during the game where they do. However, you know, I don't think it's going to be the main theme of the game. Instead, I do think they will sit off in their 4-2-3-1, sort of a mid-block, maybe at times even a low block. And I think United are going to have possession in this game. The question is, what shape do they use from here? Well, if it was me, I would be going with a back three of Harry Maguire, Casemiro and Lindelof. Now, importantly, I'm not saying the formation is a back three. I'm saying that in possession, you change to a back three. I would then have Dalot moving in here into midfield, Eriksen into a double pivot with him, Sabitzer or Fred, whoever it may be, push higher, Anthony come inside, and Wan-Bissaka push high down the right-hand side. Now, what this again allows United to do is just create overloads all over the pitch. And ultimately, that is Ten Hag's job. he can't kind of create and score the chances himself. He needs to put the players in a system which allows them to play out from the back, get the ball moving forward, and then create something in the final third. So you've got composure in the first third, control in the middle third, then creativity in the final third, kind of the 3 C's up the pitch. That's what Ten Hag needs to get this team to do, then the players need to execute. I want to talk to you about an amazing tool to help you become a more composed and confident footballer. Be Your Best is football training in virtual reality. Developed by experts in Norway, it's the perfect way to improve cognitive performance, improving scanning, decision making and memory from anywhere in the world. In Be Your Best, you will go through over 800 scenarios recreated from professional games. A bit like this one from Luka Modric. You'll play from his point of view and receive feedback for your performance along the way. Be Your Best is used by athletes from all around the world, with Arsenal star Martin Odegaard using it in his return from injury, and it's also backed by science, with a recent 9-week study seeing players increase their scan rate by a staggering 28%, and now you can get 20% off your first month or year by using code HUB20 at checkout, so make sure to use BeYourBest.com or use the link in the description. So we've got them composed and playing out from the back. How can they control the game? This shape is the way to do it. One of the reasons is because, again, if Sevilla do choose to kind of be aggressive in the middle third, United naturally have an overload here. With 5 players, Maguire, Casemiro, Lindelof, Dalot and Eriksen, up against just the 4 pressing Sevilla forwards. Now, you might say there's a system here which works like this, where Sevilla kind of cut the pitch in half. Manchester United have quality in someone like Harry Maguire, who can find Lindelof here with a lifted pass, or it can happen the other way around as well, something like this. United have the quality to deal with these situations, so I think it would again allow United to take control. Now, the other thing which this shape is going to allow the team to do is going to allow the 2 centre-backs to step forward, something which Lindelof and Maguire both like doing, and I just think it's a really easy way for United to progress the ball. If Lindelof can step forward here, play the ball into Sancho, we know that Sevilla will be quite narrow, so Sancho should get that first touch of time, turn, progress the ball. I think it's a really effective way for United to do it. It can happen down the right-hand side as well. Now, if that is the case, I would probably prefer Wan-Bissaka kind of underlapping in that moment, with Antony receiving the ball simply because he's a better ball progressor. But it's just a way for United to really easily move the ball forward. Again, move the ball through the pitch. I think it's really effective. Sancho and Antony, both very good at kind of slowly dribbling their way forward, but also kind of passing and linking the play to move the ball forward. I think it could really work. Now, of course, wide progression is very important in modern day football. I go on about it a lot, but I also think it's important that United try and go inside the pitch at times as well. And again, I think this can be done from deeper areas. If Maguire is going to be stepping into these areas, Campos isn't just going to stand there and let him do it. He will come out. If United are good with the ball and able to move the ball well with their passing, there is now the potential for a box midfield like this. Antony, Sabitzer, Dalot and Eriksen in a box midfield, again, overloading and outnumbering the 3 men for Sevilla in the midfield. Again, I think it's a way where United can outnumber them. And then also you've got Martial, who will also love to drop deep all the time. Again, I think from a systematic point of view, United should have the ability to outnumber and overload Sevilla in most areas of the pitch. And like I've said a couple of times already, Sevilla aren't very good. In the past, they've been a very, very good side. This season, that's simply not. You just have to look at their La Liga form. You just have to look at the game last week. They're not very good at football at the moment. So United should get into positions quite nicely. For me, I think, Ten Hag will have them set up right. It's all about the delivery of players. Are the players going to execute? Are they going to play well? Are they going to produce, make the right decisions, the right way of pass? That's where I think Dalot and Eriksen might be quite important, because we saw it at the weekend. They were both very good on the ball, and very good at helping United to control the game. I think United need more of that. Last week in the game, we had Sabitzer on 53% pass accuracy. I think, did the midfield average 68% pass accuracy between them last week? I think it was something like that. Eriksen and Dalot, if they can invert into these positions here, kind of as a double pivot with Casemiro deeper, I think it should give United a base to actually keep the ball a bit better. For me, if they had kept the ball better last week, they would have gone on to win the game and not conceded, because Sevilla weren't really offering anything. So if Dalot and Eriksen can get into these central positions and just slow the game down a little bit, I think United have quality. The other advantage for United of slowing the game down is it actually benefits their system and their structure more, because this then allows players like Sabitzer and Antony in these areas to push a little bit higher. Now, what does this do? It gives you a front 5 up against a Sevilla back 4. Again, I talk about it all the time. It's really, really effective. but also it's particularly effective when you've got players like Casemiro, who's very good with his long passing, which is why I would like him in this deep area, but also Maguire's good at switching the play, Lindelof is good, so is Dalot, and so is Eriksen. Now the reason that these long passes are important in a game and in a structure like this is because it means that if United are able to build the ball down one side, for example on the left, kind of suck Sevilla onto them, but then go backwards to, honestly, any of these 5 players who are very good at switching the play, it then gives you the opportunity to get the ball to the other side and take advantage of the fact that you've got the 5 versus 4. If Martial then makes this run across here, it ties up this centre-back. Acuna now has 2 players to deal with, Wan-Bissaka and Antony. Who does he go with there? It's really difficult to defend, and we saw it actually at the weekend again for United's second goal against Forest. Wan-Bissaka makes the overlapping run, Antony comes inside, they outnumber the defender. That was against a side which played with 5 defenders. Sevilla will only play with 4. So United have even more potential for overloads. And again, I just think it's about execution in the final third. Now, if United are taking control and playing really well, there's also the potential for more of a 3-1-6, or something which maybe even looks like a 3-1-3-3 a little bit at times. Again, this gives United the opportunity to just outnumber Sevilla in every position, get players forward in Dalot, Antony, Sabitzer, Sancho, Wan-Bissaka, Martial, whoever it might be, get these players moving forward with the likes of Eriksen and Casemiro controlling from deep. Genuinely, as a Manchester United fan, I'm really confident going into this game. I think United will win. Now, in terms of from a defensive point of view, we could talk about that side of it, although honestly, I'm not convinced Sevilla will have too much to offer. Last week, they had nothing. Apart from the 2 own goals, I think their XG was 0.8. They didn't threaten at all at any point. They didn't look particularly good in transition. United, if they're on it, should be fine. Like I said, it is all about execution. I think Ten Hag's system is perfect to hurt Sevilla, a poor Sevilla side. You just need the players to show that bit of composure. Because last week, the team was in such a good position. 2-0 up in Europe. It's brilliant. You're in such a good position. At home, just control the game, see it out. But no, 53% pass accuracy from someone like Sabitzer. Bruno Fernandes giving the ball away. United need better than that this week. I think we also need to see Casemiro a bit more on it. Recently, last couple of games since returning from suspension, he hasn't looked quite right. Now, I don't know the reason for that. Some of it might actually be a lack of game time in his legs. At this stage in his career, I feel like he's someone who needs to play somewhat regularly to kind of keep himself ticking over, and he's always played regularly during his career. He isn't used to missing big chunks of football. He is missing chunks of football at the moment, so maybe it's just a case of getting back up to speed, up to match speed. Hopefully he is able to do that sooner rather than later. If he is, again, he's a really important player for United in this game, because it's not going to be easy in Sevilla, simply because... Am I allowed to say this? Yeah, probably. We know what Spanish teams are like in Europe. We know the way that they dive on the floor, they roll about, they get in their referee's face, the ref gives them every decision. We know how it's going to go. We know what the environment is going to be like. The crowd will be very hostile. It's going to be a difficult game for United. They're going to get kicked. There's going to be diving all over the place. United need to keep their composure. The experience of someone like Casemiro really is important. And then again, like I said, the ability to keep the ball of players like Antony, Sancho, Martial even, Dalot, Eriksen, I think United need to retain the ball well. And kind of take the sting out of Sevilla, completely take the sting out of them. Because that's what they done in the first half last week and went 2 goals up. It wasn't until Sevilla kind of got that bite back into them because United were giving them the ball that Sevilla got back into the game. So if United can avoid that, genuinely I think they'll be fine. But I think these 2 might be the key to kind of controlling it and setting the pace. If these 2 play well and keep the ball, I'm confident United go on to win this game. So, yeah, that's kind of where I stand going into this game. Like I said, I'm quite confident. I do think United will go through. It will not be easy because Sevilla still have a couple of good players. United are depleted. That's the one. The squad is depleted. There's a lot of players out. There are talks, though, that Shaw and Rashford could return, which would obviously be a huge boost. For this video, we've assumed they won't be returning. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are your score predictions? What would your lineup be? I would go with this. What would your shape be? In possession, I would go with something like this, or the 3-2-5, like so. I think it gives United the base to control. But yeah, let me know what you think. And basically, that's it. Subscribe to the channel while you're here. It would be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, I will see you in the next one.